Hello folks, glad you're here with me today. Appreciate you showing up for the channel's episode this afternoon or morning or evening as it may be at your place. My name is Chris, I'm your host, and if this is your first time here, I'm glad you found me. The channel is a great place to learn more about finances and freedom, as is the name of the channel. But we also like to talk about other things, and as time transpires, we'll see what those turn out to be. Today we have a topic which I'm sure has been considered by a number of you folks, and that's retirement. And we've talked about retirement here on the channel in the past. And today we're going to talk about, in no particular order, some of the top 5 retirement regrets of people as they enter into retirement, okay? So again, my name is Chris. I'm glad you're here. If this is not your first time here and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I would love to see you guys do so. Like the video. Hopefully you'll go back and look at some of the other videos as well. Find out if there's additional information in one of those that might be of interest to you. And certainly you can always message me, or you can put comments down in the comment section below each video. I do read those and I like to respond as best I can. If there's something that you would like to see in an upcoming episode or a future episode, by all means put that in there as well, okay? So, again, in no particular order, some of the top 5 ranked regrets for retirement, and that first regret is not having a retirement plan, okay? Now, you might think, well, a retirement plan, what does that entail? Well, certainly it entails what you're planning on going to do financially. How are you going to pay for your retirement? If you have a pension, great. If you have savings, investments, things of that nature, equally great, okay? But it's not just about finances. When you go into retirement, you have to think about what's going to be different then versus 24 hours before you retired. What were you doing? Probably going to work, right? Once you retire, it kind of stands to reason you're not going to have a job. So you're not going to be going to work. So what do you do with all that extra time? Because generally speaking, the average job is, 7 to 8 hours a day, maybe a little more. Depends on the nature of your job or your occupation and where you work. What are you going to do with all that free time? Now, that being said, a lot of folks have found that they don't know how they ever got to the job because they're having so many things to do now that they have no job. And maybe you're going to be one of those. But what is your plan for that? Excuse me. What does that look like to you? If you wake up in the morning and you don't have to go punch a time clock, what are you going to do? And that is sort of a reason that a lot of people find angst in their early retirement years, because now they have so much free time, they don't necessarily at the beginning know what to do with it. But once time begins to transpire, if they've thought about this whole process, then it's very likely that they will have activities which center around family and friends, perhaps their church or their religious affiliation. They may find volunteer opportunities in their local community, and they suddenly discover that they have just as much going on now as they did before they retired. They're just not necessarily getting paid for that. And that's okay. If they're good with that, then it doesn't really matter, right? But you have to have a plan. So it's not just about the finances, okay? The other regret, or regret number 2, perhaps I should say, for a lot of people, is taking Social Security too soon. Now, you can take Social Security as early as age 62, generally speaking. There are circumstances in which you could take it earlier than that. A spousal Social Security benefit in the case of the death of a spouse. You may be eligible based on the Social Security requirements to take that benefit early. But again, for a lot of retirees, they take it as soon as possible because, oh gosh, the Social Security Administration is going to run out of money and they don't know how to print anymore. I wish they didn't know how to print anymore, which the government always seems to know how to figure out. But they take it really early. They take it at 62 or maybe 63, and by the time they're 67 or 70 years old, they're like, man, kind of wish I hadn't done that. There are ways to back out of that, but depending on when you're watching this video, those means of doing so may no longer be available to you. So you can always contact the Social Security Administration and see if there is a way to back yourself out of having taken it early, okay? The number 3 thing, or a third item that's in the top 5, folks, is not retiring with enough retirement savings. Now, here on the channel, we talk a lot about that. We talk a lot about making sure that you have money set aside for retirement. What a lot of folks don't do, though, is exactly that. They don't set aside enough money for retirement. Now, that being said, you have to live life and you have to pay the bills. And it's totally understandable when at the end of the month, some months you may be a little short on saving for retirement because of all the other things that you've had to outlay money for. Totally get it. But you do have to save something. Even if it's only $50 or $100 a month, you have to save something. Otherwise, you may find yourself working past 62 or 65 or 67 or, God forbid, 70, unless you really want to work past your 70s. If that's what you want to do, then you don't have to worry so much about having a lot of money saved and set aside for retirement if you're going to work anyway, all right? But if you have health issues that do not necessarily lend themselves to you being able to work later, excuse me, later on, then it's highly likely you're not going to be able to retire the way you want to and in a manner in which you are comfortable, shall we say, okay? Because there is a difference in being comfortable and being able to get by, right? So it all goes back to having a plan. And again, a retirement plan plus a financial plan, okay? Another thing that they regret, and they being retirees, or a fourth item of regret, is not enjoying life along the way, okay? Now, what does enjoying life along the way mean? That means you're not spending 8 hours at the job, going home, sitting down, eating supper, watching TV, going to bed, getting up tomorrow, rinse and repeat for years and years and years on end. If you're not spending time with family or friends or getting out and doing fun things, and of course, that's always subjective, right? What you might consider fun, I may not. You know, I'm not looking to go skydiving at, 8 o'clock in the morning every Monday for the next year. You might like that. I do not. So if you're not finding things to do that are enjoyable along the way, with family or friends, even by yourself. I mean, who's to say that single vacationing is not a thing? Because it is. But if you're not taking those opportunities as you go, at some point you're going to go, man, I'm old. I'm old and I can't do anything. And now I can't go enjoy skydiving on Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning for the next 6 months, because you're going to be just too tired and too old and too decrepit to even fall out of the plane at 5,000 feet or whatever the case may be, right, to do your skydiving. So enjoy those opportunities as time goes on, and you're not going to be one of those in retirement that goes, gosh, I wish I'd have been more skydiving focused when I was like in my 50s, instead of now I'm 75 and I have time, but I can't do it, right? So enjoy your life along the way, I guess, is kind of the bottom line. The other thing that I want to touch on is retiring too late. Now, excuse me, mentioned a moment ago about folks that work longer in life in order to be able to retire. And if you've already got a plan set up financially as well as from a retirement standpoint, you are likely going to not necessarily retire too late. Okay. That being said, if you want to work later in life, no one says that you have to stop. If you run a online business or a web-based business, and it's something that, it takes 5-10 hours a week, and you make a few $1,000 out of it every month, and it helps you pay the bills, and the rest of the time you're laying on the beach in Thailand, knock your socks off. I'm proud of you. You're blessed. If you are just working because you don't know what else to do with your life, you need to pull out a writing utensil and some paper and sit down and start thinking back about the first thing we mentioned, which was a retirement plan. You need to look at your finances. You need to look at what you're planning on doing every day. Again, if you're not working 8 hours a day for a boss or the government or some corporation, and now you're at home, what are you going to do? I can tell you that if you've ever been sick and had the flu, and let's say you were laid up in bed for 3 or 4 days, after 3 or 4 days, you're just like, oh, I just want to get well. I want to go do something. I want to be out of the house. I don't want to be stuck here doing nothing. That's kind of like retirement without a plan. You're stuck doing nothing because you haven't got a plan. You don't know where you're going. You don't know how you're going to get there. You don't know when you're going to get there, or how you're going to pay for it. So you don't have a plan financially or otherwise, and those are never a good thing to have in conjunction with your retirement. I mean, I can harp on that all day long, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's all up to you. If you want to enjoy your retirement years and not just work until the day that you die at your desk, okay, then you need to have a plan. If you're all good with someone dragging you out at 10 o'clock at night from your office and taking you off to the morgue, okay, I guess that's fine too. But how's your family going to feel about that? And if you don't have any family, well, that's one thing. But almost everybody has family. And even if you're not close to them, they would still feel regret and remorse for having not been able to spend more time with you, right? I'm pretty sure they would. So don't not plan, because not planning is planning to fail. If you want to plan to succeed, you have to do that plan early. So even if you're in your 20s or 30s, start thinking about what you're going to do in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, and maybe even beyond. If your family has a history of people living into their hundreds, then you're going to have a long time in retirement. Even if you have a history of family living only in their 70s or maybe 80s, you're still likely to have a very long retirement. And how are you going to pay for that? How are you going to play during that? Okay, so think about those things, because those are going to be very important items for you and your family. I mean, your family kind of has to have buy-in on this as well, right? I mean, if you plan on working the rest of your days and they're like, I want to go on vacation, are you going to be the party pooper and go, yeah, I'm not going to be there? Or are you going to go, yeah, I'd really love to be there. I want to spend time with you guys. So plan on that and start planning now. Don't wait until the day before retirement and go, oh yeah, I'm done. Because that's not going to be very good. So yeah, that's today's video, folks. It just, there are lots of top this and top that type of list, but because we are focused on finances and our freedom to do things and work and go wherever and vacation wherever and things like that, this is an important topic. So don't just poo-poo on it, so to speak. Put some serious thought into it, because it's going to be something that we all have to look into it at some point in our lives. And very, very few people ever go into retirement without some regrets. So the way that we can minimize that is have a plan, okay? So, all right. Well, that's today's video. I appreciate you guys showing up for it. Again, if you've not subscribed yet, would love to see you subscribe. Like this video and make some comments down below in the comment section. Let's have some continued discussion on this and other future subjects in regards to finances and our freedom to move about the world. And I do hope to see you on the next one. So y'all have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, as the case may be. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.